Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Tarda Zone. And this is the Tarda Zone Talks, and Doctor Who news has dropped. We've got some news. So, just to give you the basics, Doctor Who Series 14 will have 8 episodes, and Christmas specials are set to return. Millie and Shooty apparently had their first costume fitting at the end of October. We've got some articles to read. We will talk about it. But I did tell you on this channel again that Christmas specials were going to return. Again, sources that I got were telling the truth. If I was a popular channel and I wasn't considered a toxic channel, this would be the #1 channel for rumor and speculation. And I don't care what anybody else says out there. It's a fact. It's a fact. I'm sick and tired of this fandom out there dismissing the stuff that I've spoke about in the past on this channel and have dismissed that as utter garbage. Every time and time again, I've said it, whether it's weeks or months after I've reported it, it always seems to come true, which means that the sources that I've had over the time have been absolutely brilliant. And again, congratulations to me sources again for, getting this stuff spot on, and for obviously, being kind enough to forward that information to this channel. I really do appreciate it. But let us get into this. The articles are in the link description. So we'll start off with the Radio Times article. Obviously, TV Zone have put up a thing, and Scottish Stavros and friends wrestle with pop culture. Put up a tweet, retweeted them, a funny tweet. Basically, you are slow on this. The Tarda Zone has got, and Daniel has been very vocal, obviously, very vocal publicly supporting me, because he knows what has been said on this channel, just like all you guys know what's being said on this channel. I never do, and I never will, Charlotte. That's the thing. But you know what? It's something. Look, I'm not going to sit here and lie and say to you that, I'm okay with it. Of course I'm not. It would be nice to get the recognition, but obviously I'm never going to get it. So that's something that I'll just have to deal with. You know what I mean? But time and time again, we've been getting things spot on this channel. And look, all I'll just say before we get into everything, right? All I'm just going to say is, to me, the good old times for Doctor Who may well be coming back. I just feel, I've had this gut feeling from day one. And with the stuff that I was receiving, obviously, I'd have a little bit more knowledge than you guys until obviously I was allowed release stuff or say something on it. But I just feel it in my gut that this is going to be, as Christopher Eccleston's doctor said, I think it was Christopher Eccleston's doctor, wasn't it? A trip of a lifetime. And I think this is going to be a trip of a lifetime. I think this is going to be absolutely fantastic. I just feel it. I just feel it in my bones. I don't know what it is. Just something from day one, since I knew he was coming back. Everybody is acting all surprised, and I've known obviously about RTD's return before everybody else. I obviously knew before everybody else that Christmas specials were coming back. I'd already got a smile on my face, but to see now that it's actually confirmed is fantastic. By the way, I just want to shout out to the Who Shop. Don't mean to get on you, our backs are at him, but the second issue of Doctor Who apparently is out, and I still haven't received my first issue off you, so I'm kind of annoyed about that. So I know there's a bit of a postal thing going on over there, but if you could sort your act out, that would be absolutely fantastic, because not a great look it isn't, especially after, you got fans that have decided to give Doctor Who another chance and have decided to buy and support the merchandise, and we're not even getting it. It hasn't even arrived. The second issue of the Doctor Who magazine apparently is out, and I haven't even received the first issue of the RTD era. So, I can understand that there's stuff going on in the UK with postal and stuff like that. And I do get that, but it's getting a bit ridiculous now. How long ago did we order that magazine? You know what I mean? Like, it's paid for and all. Like, you know what I mean? It's still in the UK. We got the tracking thing and it's still in the UK. So where's me magazine? So if you could sort that out, that would be absolutely fantastic. But anyway, besides all of that, obviously there's going to be a lot of stuff that's in that second issue now that over the next couple of days now is going to keep us all busy. There's going to be some stuff delivered in the magazine, because as I said, he's going to use the magazine as the platform to announce all of these things. So let's get into this. Again, the Radio Times article's in the link description. I'll just read the bits that are relevant to us, because you know what all these articles do. They talk about what they talk about and then they go on a bit of a tangent. Bit like what I do on stream, but I'll try to stick to the facts. So Doctor Who confirms number of episodes for Series 14 with Ncuti Gatwa. The new season will be shorter than we're used to. The Doctor Who news keeps pouring in, including the excitement announcement that both Ncuti and Millie are ready in Cardiff filming the new season. And now we know how many episodes it will consist of. Returning showrunner RTD confirmed during a chat with Doctor Who magazine that Series 14 will have 8 episodes. Okay. So they say it's a sin. Creator noted that the episode count is down on previous runs, but reassured fans by saying, okay, that's fewer episodes, but the last full season, but give us time. We have plans, and that's a promise. It definitely does sound like Davis will make up for the shorter season with other content. See, this is what I'm thinking is happening. There's going to be less episodes for Doctor Who, because obviously we all know it's only a matter of time before they announce that they're expanding the universe, right? That's exactly what's going to happen. Davis confirmed in the same interview that he's already working on 2024 Christmas special. So Doctor Who fans won't be short of things to discuss. So it's 9 episodes altogether, right? And if Ncuti's era or this one of these specials, because there's 4 specials that he's doing. If that one is Christmas Day, well then that means that we're getting a Christmas Day special obviously at the start of Ncuti's run. Then he does Series 14, then we get another Christmas special. So in reality, for his 4th season, that would be 10 episodes. So fans won't be waiting 13 months wait, because there was despite the third, sorry. So Doctor Who fans won't be short of things to discuss despite the 13-month wait between The Power of the Doctor and the 60th anniversary specials airing. And that is the Radio Times article, because remember, the magazine has only literally dropped. So they're only all getting the news as it comes out. Now, TV Zone, who Daniel Adagawa, they did an article as well. So I have them in the link description as well. Look, they're just news media as well, but I do love the way they go on and thinking that they're breaking some news that, you know, that we already know. So, Doctor Who showrunner Russell T Davies has revealed new details on Series 14 and hinted at his plans for future of the long-running sci-fi series. Let's see what they say. Doctor Who will return with 3 specials in November 2023. And he said he's done 4. He says he's done 4. So everybody's still reporting on the 3, but he's done 4. Right? So people are probably thinking that, yeah, he's done. If it's Ncuti's era starts off Christmas, right? Then he's got another Christmas special to write. So, you know, yeah, so they're basically saying the same thing. But this article is deceiving. So they did. So Millie, they got her name wrong in the article. They call her Molly Gibson. Millie Gibson. They met the costume designer on the 31st of October for their first fittings. Now, it's basically the same article. So they're about the same article. So, they think they're breaking something massive there. So they've went in for their first costume design on the 31st, or fitting, I should say. Filming began officially on the 5th of December. So the next announcement will have to be logically the costume reveal or the TARDIS interior, but I reckon the costume reveal first. Yeah, he probably was holding the clipboard in costume. I put the clipboard picture up on the channel there. So I reckon the costume reveals have to be next. If they're even mentioning it in the Doctor Who magazine, then that is next. That has to be next. Because as soon as they're proud. It looked like to me they were filming in a studio at the moment. So I don't think they've done any outdoor filming yet, or if they have, it's in secret locations. Because people have been asking me, do you know where the locations are filming? I don't think the filming locations have been revealed yet, because they do actually reveal the filming locations anyway. Under Chris Chibnall, they were very cloak and dagger about it, but RTD doesn't mind fans know, because he knows they're going to turn up anyway, so he might as well control the situation as best that they can when fans do show up. And trust me, fans will show up. They always do. But this is exciting times. Christmas specials back. They've went for their costume fitting, their first fitting. They said if he's wearing the costume in that photograph, well then I'm telling you now, the costume is probably going to be the next reveal, and I can't wait. 8 episodes. People will argue that it is a bit short, but again, I will say to you, right, and I did say this on the channel, we don't know how long these episodes are going to be. Are they going to be traditional 45 minutes, or are they going to be 30-minute episodes? Or are they going to be over 50 minutes each, or over an hour each? We don't know. They could be an hour and a half episodes. Each episode could be an hour and a half. It could be an hour. It could be the traditional 45 minutes. We don't know, right? So we might get a longer run time on some episodes anyway, and that'll make up for the obviously getting less episodes. But look, I'm very excited. I think, with what he's doing with David Tennant, plus he's doing Shooty's 8 episodes and a special. I mean, come on. That's a lot of work that he's had to put in even in his first year. So you can forgive the fact that there's going to be less episodes of Doctor Who with Shooty, and then obviously maybe hopefully in his second season, like what they do with most American shows. Star Trek Voyager started off, I think, with originally 16 episodes, but the second season then had 24 or something, or the 25 episodes they do a season. Now, I'm not saying Doctor Who will go down that route, but do you know what I mean? They'll probably increase the number of episodes in the second of Shooty season. It's just obviously he's done those specials with David because it's the 60th anniversary coming up. So he's done a lot of work. He's put a lot of work in, so he should be praised. And if he's rebooting Torchwood, he'll need time to work on that as well, yeah? Because, as I said, it's only a matter of time before they confirm the expanded universe, but it's happening. It's happening. I've been telling you from day one. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. It's a given now. With Disney money behind them, it's a given now. It's going to happen. There's no way that it's not going to happen now. I even read something yesterday. They said missing Sarah Jane Sarah Jane Adventure episodes were going to be tweaked or something. They're working on them. So I'm telling you, they're probably going to somehow, because obviously Sarah Jane Adventures ended because obviously Liz Sladen passed away. But they might end it a different way so they can jump off that to do a spin-off of the Sarah Jane Adventures, right? So they could be doing that as well. I found that very interesting as well. But I'm telling you, man, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. But as I said, none of that counts. None of that counts if the show isn't on a solid foundation, the main show. Remember, Doctor Who has been neglected for the past 5 years and has been used as a platform for other things than actually entertaining its audience, right? And it's suffered over the last 5 years under the previous regime, right? So the show needs time to get itself back up on its feet, right? And in order to do that, there must be full concentration on that show. But it already seems to me that may not be the plan. And this is what I said. I didn't want them to go down the Disney route or the Marvel route or the DC route because they're pumping out all of these shows and they've oversaturated the market, right? And that's what I fear will happen with the Doctor Who universe. They'll oversaturate the market with all of these different shows, but is the main show okay? You know what I mean? And I don't want any of the... And this is the thing that I'd be very worried about, is that some of these shows would actually outshine Doctor Who. And I don't... And I know that sounds a bit weird to say, because people will say, well, you want it to be successful, you want the other shows to be successful. Yeah, I do. But at the same time, Doctor Who is an institution. It's a British institution. It's the longest sci-fi show. So it should have that. It should be better than, well, at least be on par with the rest. You know what I mean? But it should be the benchmark. And nobody will care about the spin-offs if the main show is no good. RTD knows this, going to be great. Well, hopefully he does, because that would be my only concern here. I don't want them to oversaturate the market with them. Look, I'd love to see a Dalek series. I think I'd love to see a Cyberman series. But as I said, if you're going to do them, personally speaking, they have to be R-rated. You would actually have to show everything for those series to work. You can't do Daleks the way you do them in the main show, right? If you're going to do a Dalek origin story or even Dalek story, you need to actually show the horrific nature of the Daleks, make them scary again. And the same with the Cybermen. You've got to show all of that. I mean, there's one scene in the Rise of the Cybermen, they started the two-part of that, the Age of Steel and the Rise of the Cybermen. And they're playing that music in the background when they're doing the conversion. Well, in the Cyberman series, if they do one in the R-rated, you could actually show a proper conversion happening. Yes, it'd be gory and stuff like that, but you would have to make the Cybermen scary. You couldn't make them the way you make them in the show. I'm sorry, you'd have to actually show the blood, the guts, the gore, the whole lot for them to work. And then you could have your lighter shows then for the kids, family friendly, like as people been saying for years. You could have the Jenny Adventures. You could have Ace and Tegan teaming up now. Everybody seemed to love that in the Power of the Doctor. Was obviously the cameos, and some of the cameos, and people were saying there's opportunities there for spin-off shows. I absolutely agree. There is opportunity for spin-off shows there, but you could make them lighter for the kids and the families to sit down and watch, and then you could have the adult version shows then as well, because you got to appeal to everybody, remember. So you could do everything. So you can have Doctor Who's the main show, which is a family show. Then you have your, like the Sarah Jane Adventures, aimed more at kids, but have an Ace and Tegan, right? And then you could bring in Jenny, even the Doctor's daughter. You could get her to do a few adventures and stuff like that. You could have a spin-off series with her as well. And then on the other side, then you could have the Paul McGann mini-series that everybody's been calling for. You could have a Dalek series, and you could have a Cyberman series, all running in conjunction with the main show. They've got to appeal to everybody. They can't just focus on the younger audience. Daleks will not work. Daleks have worked in Doctor Who, but if you're going to do a Dalek series, it's not going to work the way you portray them in Doctor Who, right? It's family friendly in Doctor Who, because obviously it has to be family friendly. But remember back in the classic era, the way they did Daleks, they were scary, they were menacing. You know, you would have to make them darker anyway than the main show. If you didn't want to go full R-rated, fine. But you've got to make them a little bit darker than you have them in the main show. That's what I'm trying to say. Same with the Cybermen, if you're going to do that. You could still have your shows for the kids as well. You could do loads. You could tap into animation as well, man. Bring back, if Christopher Eccleston doesn't want to come back to the main show or appear on main screen, well, then get him to do a fucking animated series. Maybe continue on from his Doctor. If his Doctor do a kind of like, I know they've kind of done it in Doctor Who already, but they've done it with they did that What If, right? They could do a kind of What If with Eccleston, but animation. What if he hadn't regenerated? What would the adventure have been? What would the adventures have been? You know, stuff like that. Or do even like bring back Doctors and do animation of in between main series episodes. What happened in between those main adventures? Do episodes maybe based off that? There's so much they could tap into. There's so much potential. But as JCWC Reviews said, you know, you got to get, and for me, you know, it's the main show. RTD knows if he doesn't get the main show right, all of those other things are irrelevant. Fans won't jump on board. We've seen it with Star Wars, right? No matter, Mandalorian probably is the exception. I've seen some people even say Andor. Haven't watched Andor yet, but them two shows seem to be the main exception to the rule, because they're actually, well, I know for Mandalorian, it's been actually, I've enjoyed it because I think it's actually really well written. Now, I'm not down with the Star Wars lore as many people are, and this is what kind of ruined things as well. You know, we've got to kind of remember, and I'm Doctor Who, I'm very stickler for canon, and certain things shouldn't be touched, you know. But at the same time, we have to give the writers and creators some breathing room to do some things. Obviously, there are things that are important to us that we wouldn't like to be tapped into, but there are other stuff that maybe they want to explore that fans have been kind of on the fence about, that you could let them explore and tap into. You know what I mean? We've got to be... we've got to be a bit more like that. But at the same time, the people that are creating these things must also, go by this creed. You know, you must respect the source material. And if you're not going to respect the source material, well, then you don't do it. It's as simple as that, right? You don't change things to suit your agenda or your ideology. You do it as it is, the source material. If you don't, listen, we know that not everybody sticks to the source material, and some directors and writers would take liberties, and they've worked. Other times they've done it and it hasn't worked. lately in Hollywood, it seems that the liberties that are taken all the time just don't work any of the time. And they still haven't learned their lesson. But this is exciting times for the Doctor Who fandom. And, you know, I'm still getting a little bit of pushback off. So it doesn't matter what I post up. There's going to be people negative no matter what. And I've just chose now to ignore them, because at the end of the day, keep responding back to them doesn't help. They're never gonna change their minds. You know, Chibnall did a number on us all. Let's be honest about it. But there's just some fans that'll never forgive, never be able to move on, and that's sad. I haven't forgiven Chris Chibnall, and I never will. But I am willing to move on and see what the future holds, because I love this show so much. I really do. I don't think people really understand my passion for Doctor Who. It's why I've been so hard on the previous regime for the last 5 years, is because I really care. I wanted to see the Doctor Who to be done right and to be respected, because it is the longest running sci-fi show and it should be treated with respect. And you know, Jodie Whittaker's own words, you know, they say they're custodials of this and then they hand it over to the next, you know, but, you know, you also have a responsibility, though, to hand it over in either a better state that you got it in, or at least on level to when you got it. You don't absolutely decimate it. Use it as a platform, drag it through the mud for the last 5 years. Watch the ratings drop, watch the merchandise go, and just like say, oh yeah, that was the greatest ever era of Doctor Who. I mean, it still baffles me today that people are still defending that era. There is no defense for that era. Everything that's happening today is because of the previous regime. RTD wouldn't have felt it necessary to come back if it wasn't for the previous regime, because he had actually said years before that he had no interest in coming back to Doctor Who unless Doctor Who needed him. His own words. And he's back now. And why is he back? Because Doctor Who needed him. Why is David Tennant back? Some people are saying, oh, David Tennant can't let go. Right? David Tennant is this, that, and the other. No, it's not that David Tennant can't let go. Yes, Doctor Who was one of the biggest roles that he played, but he's went on to have an absolutely brilliant career. And every TV show that he's in, or anything that he's in, he's absolutely fantastic, and he's getting rave reviews. The reason why David Tennant is back is the same reason that RTD is back. It's the same reason why Billy Piper and Matt Smith were criticising the New Year specials. Why have we got Doctor Who New Year specials? Right? Same reason why, you know, Stephen Moffat during the tweet-alongs was saying the things that he said. Because every single one of these people care about Doctor Who and what was happening to the show. That's the reason why David Tennant is back. He's not back to overshadow Jodie Whittaker. And by the way, that excuse is running thin with me now. Let me explain something to all of you out there that think that David Tennant has overshadowed Jodie Whittaker. Jodie Whittaker was overshadowed by Bradley Walsh. Jodie Whittaker was overshadowed by any guest star that appeared in Doctor Who. The reason why that is because Jodie Whittaker, unfortunately for Doctor Who, was not the lead that we needed. Jodie Whittaker works best as part of a bigger, wider cast where the focus is not fully on her. And even Chris Chibnall tried very cleverly to do that with Doctor Who, but it still didn't work because you needed Jodie in those scenes because she was the main character. So when she came on screen, it fell apart because she did not have the screen presence. Right? She just didn't have it. Right? So to claim that David Tennant overshadowed Jodie Whittaker in The Power of the Doctor is absolutely ridiculous anyway. And let me explain in simple terms. Jodie Whittaker was overshadowed by Kate Stewart. Jodie Whittaker was overshadowed by Ace and Tegan. Jodie Whittaker was overshadowed by the classic Doctors, even before David Tennant turned up in the last second. And yes, David Tennant did overshadow Jodie Whittaker in the end. But that's not his fault. That's not the classic Doctor's fault. That's not the old companion's fault. That's Chris Chibnall's fault. Because he was not confident enough to let her have her own regeneration episode. Now, we said the same about Pete now because people will bring up, well, Peter Capaldi and Twice Upon a Time. Listen, that episode should never have happened. It happened because your boss, the fella that you have supported, that ran Doctor Who into the ground, wouldn't do a Christmas special because he just couldn't be bothered to do it. So Peter and Stephen came back for that and they wrote a quick fucking script. And Peter's suggestion was that they bring back David Bradley as the Fourth Doctor, right? And do a story based around that, right? But the difference is that Peter Capaldi and David Bradley were on par with each other. None of them overshadowed each other because both of them were brilliant actors. The problem is that Jodie Whittaker is actually crapping the role that she was given, and she was going to be overshadowed. Listen, Jodie Whittaker was overshadowed by a talking frog on a chair. She was overshadowed by the Pating, right? Jodie Whittaker could be overshadowed by... She was overshadowed by the spiders in arachnids in the UK, right? Jodie Whittaker was just overshadowed by everybody that turned up in that series, whether it be villain or supporting guest star. So don't be blaming David Tennant. Blame the boss that hired her in the first place because he got it wrong. Jodie Whittaker was not the right woman to play the Doctor, right? If you're going to bring in a woman, you should have brought someone in that had actually a better CV and actually had better screen presence, right? Now, fans could debate whether they still think a female Doctor was right or wrong, but I could tell you from my point of view, if you had got an actress in with even like Olivia Colman standing, someone like that caliber, right? Michelle Gomez, but she played Missy, obviously. But you got someone of that caliber. Fair enough, the scripts ended up being shite anyway. But Peter Capaldi showed even with bad scripts, if you're a good enough actor, you can elevate those scripts and make them half decent. And I believe that that's what would have happened with an actress that had better acting ability than Jodie Whittaker. Simple as that. Jodie Whittaker should never have been given this role. She was overshadowed by everybody. So stop blaming David Tennant, right, for overshadowing. He didn't overshadow her, right? He didn't. And if you do make that claim, right, well then how do you think it feels? How do you think Christopher Eccleston feels, or Matt Smith feels, or Peter Capaldi feels, or any of the classic Doctors except for Tom Baker? Because him and Tom Baker always win the number 1 or the number 2 spot as the best Doctor, right? So how do you think the others feel then, right? Because David Tennant and Tom Baker overshadow all of those Doctors then, if you go by that logic, right? So sit down, calm down. Yous are just going mad because another woman was not brought in to validate yous are pathetic Doctor, right? And she is a pathetic Doctor because Chris Chibnall wrote her as a pathetic Doctor. Then he tried to bait yous in the end with the whole Tasman thing and then didn't even have the guts to go through with it. didn't even have the guts to finish off the Timeless Children arc, ignored the fob watch, and is the universe still destroyed? I do not know. I do not care, because Chris Chibnall didn't give a shit. But that's what he left for RTD to fix. So before you start criticising RTD, David Tennant, and everybody else that you want to have a go at, remember, they're back to save the fucking show that you all supported, that ruined the previous area, that ruined this bloody show and its bloody legacy and its history, right? And made it a laughing stock again. And he's there to criticise two men that are coming back, along with Catherine Tate, to come back to try rescue this, what was destroyed for the last 5 years. Give me a fucking break, man. Give me a break, right? I know people are still worried and have legitimate concerns, right? Those people I can live with. Those people I can actually understand their opinion. But the fact that you're going after David and RTD, you don't even have a leg to stand on, right? Because they did it before in Doctor Who. They did it before. That's why you don't have a leg to stand on. When we gave out about Jodie and Chris Chibnall, we had a leg to stand on because she was a fucking unknown coming into Doctor Who. I don't mean we didn't know about her. I mean, coming into sci-fi was unknown for that woman. So to give her that role, it was madness in the first place, right? And then when she did our first couple of interviews along with our boss, we saw the red flag straight away, and we had legitimate concerns and legitimate reasons to have a problem with what was going on. And it played out over 5 years. And in those 5 years, people in the chat as well have experienced harassment, have been bullied, have been, sent the vilest stuff, harassed, defamed, you name it. All in the name of this woman and the bloke that you all supported. So don't be coming at us and RTD now because we all have a bit of optimism and because we think that Doctor Who is going to get back to what Doctor Who does best, which is telling great sci-fi stories. That's all we've ever wanted. We don't care about if there's how many people and skin colors and gender and all of this rubbish. At the end of the day, for us, it always counted the stories and the characters. And whether they were whatever skin color they were, we did not give a shit because skin color was never brought into it, right? Nobody ever, listen, I was shocked to hear that there was racism towards Frigga Angiman. Obviously, she played Martha Jones. I didn't know that. I honestly didn't know that there was some aim towards it, but I was disgusted by that because the majority of the fandom, because she even says it herself, the majority of the fandom welcomed that there was a small element out there that were racist pieces of shit, right? But it was never on. We never, look, they've cast the first black. It was none of that. It was none of that. We just got on with, we loved Martha Jones for who she was, right? And what she did for the Doctor and all of that. And the actress herself is beautiful, talented, and she was in I love her in Torchwood, by the way. Yeah, my favorite Martha is the Martha in Torchwood. I have to be honest. I was hoping that she'd actually join Torchwood. But we never focused on skin color or gender or any of that other nonsense. All we cared about was she a good enough actress? Number one. And number two, what was her character going to be like? And would we love her character? And by God, did we love her character? Exactly, Jack. Nobody cared about that. You never thought of that when you were 7 years old. And most 7-year-olds wouldn't think about that either today, right? But we're led to believe that they're more socially conscious now and they understand all of this. No, they don't. They're fucking kids. Right? Fucking kids. Leave it out. So, yeah, to summarize, there are still some people out there from the previous era that just can't let go. And I'm going to give you the advice that you gave us. If you don't like it, then leave. Right? Simple as that. Right? But if you are really, truly Doctor Who fans, like you have been shouting for the last 5 years, well then do what we did. Even though, right? Because this is all, I'm a firm believer in this. And if you go by this this belief, you will go a long way in fandom, right? You support the show in its good times and its bad times, right? Now, I didn't agree with everything that was done the previous era, but I watched every single episode. I supported the brand Doctor Who. Now, I did refuse to buy merchandise connected to this, to the previous era, which was my right to do as a fan to show that I was not happy. And obviously, I set up my channel and we start talking about it and stuff like that, right? But I still watched every week. I still done me watch alongs, me panels, did all of that. I was still invested. So if you are truly fans and do actually truly love this show, well then, you know, you could still have your complaints because we had our complaints over the 5 years. But like, you know, the difference between us and you guys is this, and this is the stark difference, is that we actually had legitimate concerns and legitimate reasons to be concerned. Yous actually don't, because David Tennant and RTD have already proven themselves in the Doctor Who community. They elevated this show to a level that we hadn't seen in decades. So, you know, I'd say to you, look, you aren't happy because Jodie Whittaker wasn't replaced by a woman, but you need to get over that now. You need to get behind David Tennant and RTD, because trust me, they have the good of Doctor Who in their hearts. And that's what they want to do. They want to do right by the show. And they're given, and for people that are saying that it's not fair on Shooty, let me explain to you. Right, I've already explained to you how bad the show was with the ratings, and you could deny it all you want and try spin it all you want. It was dire, right? Everything hit the floor. It was bad, right? David Tennant and Catherine Tate are coming back, right? Because RTD knows that he has to win people over again. And the best way that he feels he can do it for an anniversary special is to bring back one of the most popular doctors and companion that we had in the New Who run, which is Catherine Tate and David Tennant's doctor and Dr. Donna or Donna Noble, wherever you want to call her. Right? So it's to bridge that gap. It's to win fans over. This isn't to overshadow Shooty in any way. And it's to also give Shooty a chance, because he was filming other stuff as well. Now he has the free time. But it was to give Shooty a chance as well to study, to do his research, because he showed everybody that he's doing his research on the show. And as we see with Millie, she obviously watched the show and she sounds like she has a good knowledge of the show. And that's an important element, right? So it gives them time to get this right. And when I see things like that, that gives me great confidence, is that they're not gonna half-ass this. They're not gonna just do it their way, but they're gonna learn from previous regimes and previous eras and previous doctors to gain that experience, to then go and do what they need to do and to prove to us that they're the next dynamic duo. So I just plead with everybody out there, just let's wait and see what happens and give them a chance. If it's not your cup of tea, then fine, fair enough, you'll move on. And if it's not my cup of tea, I'll move on. I just hope everybody waits and sees and gives these guys a chance to prove that they can entertain us again and give us Doctor Who that we could be proud of again. And obviously, it will introduce a lot of new fans to the franchise as well. And let's hope that the next influx of new fans that come on board the show actually respect the show and respect its history and respect its legacy, and don't try to shit all over it every 5 minutes by cancelling episodes and having people cancelled because they didn't like what they said back in 19 God or whatever. Like, ridiculous. Like, again, I'm seeing this whole John Barrowman stuff come up again by a certain group of YouTubers and Twitter account that actually were hounded offline, but now seem to be kind of pandering, and it's kind of sticking me crawl because I hate people like that start to pander so they can get an easy life on Twitter and easy life on YouTube. I will never compromise on my opinions. It's as simple as that. And I see people are compromising on their opinions, but they're dragging all this John Barrowman stuff up again because John Barrowman has been putting out cryptic Doctor Who tweets, and people have put 2 and 2 together, especially the other side, and they don't like it now because they cancelled them, or they tried to cancel them, and now they're not happy, right? But there's a particular account out there that wrote and start bringing it up. Well, his last apologies weren't good enough in all of this, right? Got to explain something one last time to everybody, right? And, you need to stop with this stupidity, right? Because it's stupid. And yous are all stupid. And I'll tell you why yous are all stupid. When the original incidents happened, John Barrowman was reprimanded and he apologized to the people in question. It was done and dusted. They even sang a song about it and had a laugh about it. So everybody seemed to be fine with it. John Barrowman then continued for years to appear at Comic-Cons, and it was one of the stories that he would tell at Comic-Con. Again, no fans had an issue with it, right? Then when the Jodie Whittaker era started, the show struggled, as you know. So to try boost the ratings, they shoehorned John Barrowman into the show and brought back Captain Jack. Again, none of these fans had an issue with John Barrowman coming back. They actually celebrated it as if it was the second coming of Jesus Christ because, Captain Jack represents something to them, and they were all hyped about it. You know how they go. They're full of nonsense, those fake fans, but you know how they go on, right? But they still didn't have an issue with John Barrowman. Then we all got the news breaking from The Guardian about the Noel Clarke stuff. Now, obviously, we know what's happened with that since then, and we can't speak too much about it, but we all know that the Guardian newspaper now, and that article is being, Noel Clarke has taken some legal action. But some fan, when that stuff came out, posted a video of Noel Clarke talking about John Barrowman's Little Barrowman, and then all of a sudden, because Noel Clarke was accused of stuff, and they wouldn't dare come after a black man because they didn't want to be seen to be racists, they went after John Barrowman, a gay man, and didn't give a crap. A person that they held to a high regard. But as soon as this stuff then start breaking, and then they all start getting outraged about the John Barrowman stuff. So then John Barrowman then apologized, again. And that didn't go down well. So then you could tell by the time he got to his third or fourth apology that he was actually fed up apologizing, and he just apologized, right? But he never needed to make any of those apologies in the first place because, as I have said, nobody had a problem with John Barrowman coming back to Doctor Who. Nobody had a problem with John Barrowman when he was doing all of these conventions or said anything to him. He was actually telling the story, and the audience members were all laughing with their kids and all of that, and it was all a laugh. But as soon as these 5 little muppets in the fandom right, with their rainbow flags and their BLM hashtags and their hashtag Ukraine and all of this start kicking up for us, then it's game over. It's game, oh, we got to cancel John Barrowman now. He's not the right kind of rainbow, so let's get rid of him. And that's exactly what happened. Right? They turned on him. And now there might be a chance that RTD, and again, I said this on the channel, don't be surprised if Captain Jack returns. Remember that. I've been keep saying that. I keep saying that to you guys anyway. But there's nothing to forgive. But this is the thing. People keep saying, well, that someone actually said to me, well, he hasn't apologized properly, so he can't be forgiven. Don't be giving me that bullshit. He apologized sincerely way back then. And as I said, nobody had an issue with it because he was appearing in Comic Cons left, right, and center. Right? He even did Torchwood. Right? And was doing audios for Big Finish. Nobody had a problem then. Right? Nobody had a problem until 5 little Muppets in the fandom. I just say 5 little Muppets, but they're not 5 little Muppets. They're loads of little Muppets, but they're a vocal minority Muppet. And as soon as those Muppets speak up, it's game over. Remember, these are the same Muppets that got Human Nature and Family of Blood watch along, because, it was racist, right? And then the Unicorn and the Wasp, they went after that as well because, Garrett Roberts wrote that as well. And they got that cancelled as well, that tweet along. I mean, they wouldn't. Remember when Emily Cook did those tweet alongs, she brought a lot of joy to the fandom. But those fans didn't want us to remember, those fake ass Muppets didn't want us to enjoy Anton. So that's why they had those tweet alongs cancelled, because they knew even then that it was game over for Jodie Whittaker and Chris Chibnall, because they seen the reaction to RTD and Stephen Moffat's return, and some of the cast did those tweet alongs and they didn't even like it. They didn't like it. So rather than let us all enjoy what we were enjoying, they had a couple of them cancelled, and then Emily Cook gave up. She decided that it wasn't worth a hassle anymore, and she was and she was right. She was right. It wasn't worth a hassle anymore. She gave something to the fandom. She gave a lot of us joy, and those little Muppets ruined it for us, right? And these are the same little Muppets now that are sending death threats to David Tennant and saying vile stuff about RTD, which we've highlighted on this channel. They're an absolute scum bunch of fans. They're not even fans, right? They're worse than cockroaches. They'd survive a nuclear bleeding bomb, they would, right? Just to spew that nonsense. Oh, that nuclear bomb was racist because it only said blah, blah, blah. They'll find Anton and use it and twist it for an agenda, right? Sick and tired of them. I am sick and tired of them. You just need to shut up now. Either support the show or go walk away. Of course they stop. Yeah, of course they do. Don't want anybody to enjoy it, and they don't. That's the problem. And they've proven it time and time again. But this time, I put up a tweet, right? And I'll read it out to you because I think this is I think this is relevant, right? And I will see if you agree with me. But this is what I said on Twitter the other day. If my phone will load up, obviously, I'll get it for you now. Just give me a second. But we got 22 people watching at the moment. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, by the way, folks. Especially hit that like button, smash that like button, as they say. So where's this tweet that I put up? Because it's down a bit because I do tweet a lot I'm a serial tweeter, I have to say. I like throwing up my music videos as well. We have a bit of a party on Twitter Sunday, especially when I have a few beers. I like to throw up a bit of music. Um, we do little playlists. It does be fun. Does be fun. Where is this tweet? Jesus, I did really tweet a lot, didn't he? Right. So this is what I said to that this Twitter account, and then I'll read out the other one that I was supposed to be looking for. So this Twitter handle wrote this. I'm not going to mention the Twitter handle, but so they were agreeing with someone. So they wrote, "I agree. The way Barrowman addressed the accusations last time was completely wrong. A formal statement from him, RTD, or the BBC explaining where everybody is at now would be needed. They can't and shouldn't expect him to just return and people to be okay with it. Hashtag Doctor Who." And my response was this, because I retweeted them and I wrote, "He did not need to address the accusations again, because he had originally apologised when reprimanded, and it was okay for the fandom because he was appearing at cons. Big Finish even turned up in Jodie's era. Fans hadn't an issue then until Jodie stands kicked up a fuss." Right? And that's exactly what happened. Right? And that's exactly what it is. And if anybody tries to gaslight the fandom and say any different, you're lying. So this is a tweet, and I'm going to retweet it because actually it was a good tweet that I actually put out. I don't brag, but this was actually a good tweet. I wrote, "If JB does return, it will send a message to all the fake outraged fans that Doctor Who comes before their twisted agendas. RTD must always put the show first, and fans would like to see John return, no matter how much the small minority cry. So let's make it happen. Hashtag RTD2. And if you ask if I was to run a poll and leave it open to everybody, it'd be sabotaged. But if I was able to put a poll up somewhere where it couldn't be sabotaged, I guarantee if I put up a tweet asking or a poll asking John Barrowman, would you like to see John Barrowman return to Doctor Who? I'm pretty sure he'd win by a landslide. That Captain Jack's story is not finished yet. You could do a whole thing, bring him back and address the whole face of Bow thing and do a series where we basically see him come to the end of whatever and to that period, getting to that period where he becomes the face of Bow. I think that'd be absolutely fantastic. Yeah, but this is from a Twitter handle and a YouTube channel that disappeared because they had gotten stick for criticizing the previous era. Now it seems to me that they're pandering to this particular side now with that tweet. There's no way that they actually believe that John Barrowman needs to apologize again after 15 years when he originally apologized. He doesn't need to apologize again. He was reprimanded and he apologized. To basically say that, well, you want a statement from RTD and from these people to see where they are. So basically what you want to do is you want to drag it all up again. It makes no sense. It makes no sense. And I'm actually kind of disappointed in that Twitter account and that YouTube channel because, grow a set of balls, man. Grow a set of balls. Stop with this bullshit. Right? Stay true to yourselves. Right? There's no way that you believe that. Right? What kind of society are we living in that someone has to apologize for something that they already apologized for again? No, it doesn't happen that way. He shouldn't have to apologize again. He apologized, reprimanded, and everybody was okay with it. Absolutely ridiculous. carry on. Society is completely, God's been saying that people think that society has fallen. I actually think it already has fallen. And then someone on Twitter, actually, one of these big accounts actually said it a day ago or something. And they're right. I agree. I've been saying that society has already fallen. It's ridiculous. People have to keep apologizing for something. No. If you cannot accept the apology after it's first given, and by the way, just to all those fake outrage fans, by the way, he doesn't owe you any fucking apology anyway. So I don't know why you are getting his nose out of joint. If the people that he originally apologized to are okay with his apology and have moved on since, well then who the hell do you think you are to drag all this up again and demand that he apologise properly when he's already apologised? Like, who the hell do you think you are? He didn't hurt your feelings. He didn't make you feel uncomfortable. Right? So who are you to get your nose out of joint? Nothing to do with you. So keep your nose out of it. And stop trying to pander to a bunch of fucking lunatics because you want an easy ride on YouTube and Twitter. Either stay true to yourself or shut your fucking mouth. I'm sick of people like that. Never compromise. Seriously, folks. This is one thing I would say to anybody setting up a YouTube channel. Stay true to yourself and never compromise on your opinions. Right? You can always change your mind. We've changed our minds on this channel several times. Of course we have. Right? We've all changed our minds. None of us were going to watch after the Chibnall era. Now we've all changed our minds again. Right? It can happen. Right? But stay true to your conviction. Stay true to yourself. Right? And if people don't like the fact that you have changed your mind and stuff like that, don't let them get you down. Stay true to yourself. Never compromise on your opinions. So that's just where I am on it. Exactly. He doesn't owe the fandom anything. They're exactly cheeky. Exactly, they are. Exactly. It's just getting beyond ridiculous now. Just getting beyond ridiculous. That account you responded was based the other day when they said that Jodie Eyre doesn't sell, and then they go and say exactly. It makes no sense. I'm telling you, they got some kickback off that tweet, man. And then they went, and that's why I don't like people like that. Right? Right? And all these people that sit on the fence as well, you either have an opinion or you just feck off, but don't sit on the fence and try and navigate your way through this madness the last 5 years. You're just as complicit. He doesn't exactly tired this time. He doesn't know anybody an apology. He already apologized to those people. And if those people that he apologized to came out publicly and said that the apology wasn't acceptable, then we'd have a discussion to have. Right? But they haven't. Some have actually come out and publicly supported them. So again, I will say to all those outraged idiots out there, what's up with that? What's up with that? He didn't offend you guys. He didn't take his little Barrowman out and slap you across the face with it, did he? No, he didn't. So mind your own business. He apologized. He's entitled to move on, which he did, until a small minority in this fandom decided that he had to be cancelled. And these are the same people that say they support LGBTQ rights, and yet they will pile on and destroy a man's career because of something that he did and apologized for years ago because they're angry at someone else, but can't go after that someone else because, they'd be seen as hypocrites because they support Black Lives Matter. And this is what this is all down. That's why they went after John Barrowman, and be under no illusion that the reason why they went after John Barrowman rather than go after Noel Clarke was because they all claimed to support Black Lives Matter, and they didn't want to be perceived, seen to be attacking Noel Clarke directly. So they did it indirectly by attacking John Barrowman. And then anybody that supported Noel Clarke or John Barrowman, then they would directly attack those people, right, to get at Noel Clarke. That was the way they did it, or tried to get around it. Absolutely pathetic carry on. And they're trying to, and they're still trying. I used to like that channel, but the cake in my book, that's just bad as the Muppets. Exactly. You never compromise. You know, you never. You put up one tweet that shows your real, true feelings. Then you put up another tweet then because you probably got kicked back off that tweet. Then to say, to appease certain people and say, oh yeah, John Barrowman does need to apologize, and these people need to. So you want them to relive that memory, and maybe some of them have decided to move on and get on with their lives, but you want to drag all that back up again because you want to score points with the other side. Pathetic. It wouldn't be me. And it never has been me, and it never will be me. I'll stay true to myself. And the RTD era is good, I'll say it's good. If it's bad, I'll say it's bad. I'm not going to blow smoke either way, because that's the kind of person I am. I'm just honest with me opinions and honest with me feelings, and that's the way I'll always be. And this is why I still have people watching me to this day, because they can see that. Never compromise. Always stay true to yourself. And if you try to appease the other side, you're just as bad as them, in my opinion. And these fans, yeah, it's an entitlement. But remember, you know, the parents of those entitled people are responsible. Society is responsible for failing these people, because there's a lot of self-entitled little twats out there that think that they should be given everything and handed everything and owed everything, right? You earn everything that you get in life. You don't get handed stuff. Yes, there's some people out there that do, and they never learn the real life lessons out there, right? But the majority of us have to work hard for where we've gotten, right? We don't get things handed to us. But there's a self-entitlement. It's been around now for the last good few years now, and it's not well. They'll finally probably get a taste of their medicine if the world economy collapses, like it's on the verge of collapsing now. So they'll have to deal with recessions and deal with a depression, just like we did. We dealt with recessions. We had a double recession here in Ireland as well. So I've had a few of them. The parents have had, at this stage, they've had loads. But this will be their first experience of real hardship. And they're not going to be able to get all the things that they were able to get. And this is why you're getting the attitude now of them throwing their toys out of the pram, because they know the game is up and they can handle it, because they're a generation that have grown up with getting everything handed to them. And now they're going to see, when things are financially tight, that they're not going to be handed everything. And it's going to be a right shit show, because, you know, there's still, because the attitude of that. See, our generation and generations before, we adapted to the situation. That generation's not going to adapt, because they're incapable of adapting. Just look at their opinions and their views. They will never change them, even when evidence is right there, or the facts are right there in their face. You could say to someone, oh, the sky is blue, and they would argue with you that the sky is pink, right? And they'd be convincing about it, and they would actually believe what they're saying, even though the reality of the situation is the sky is blue. Yous will be well, some yous will be capable of taking over, but a lot of yous won't. That's the sad thing about a society. Then will truly be fucked. There's nothing wrong with trying to find middle ground with the fandom, but not with that crazy apologize stuff. Again, you know, yeah, you could try find common ground. We've tried to find common ground, but the thing about it is, yeah, people have their views of me, and that's just it. That will just overshadow everything else. Even if they were to sit here and listen to a full stream, they would still believe what other people tell them, even if I come across differently, right? Because it's just framed that way. It's just the way it is. When people get an idea, or you see it, when people are accused of stuff, it doesn't matter, it sticks and it stays stuck. Even if the facts and evidence shows otherwise, it'll always stick. That's the society that we live in now. It doesn't matter that John Barrowman apologized all those years ago, because it wasn't done now while they're all living and breathing. It's not an apology because they weren't around, or they were little nippers, or whatever, weren't even born. And that's where the self-entitled, well, because they weren't around, well, we deserve to hear that apology. So then he came out and he apologized, but it wasn't the right sort of apology, right? But then what I didn't like was the media jumped on it. But you all knew this, and at the time you reported on it, and then you left it at that. But then because it was selling newspaper again, see again, the media didn't help the situation either. They've got a lot to answer for. They've got a lot to answer for. It's just sad. It's sad. I just, yeah, it's a lost generation. They could still turn it around, but it's it's looking very likely that's not going to happen. See, they're aided by adults who are losers in life, and they try then to influence our children because they were such losers, and then because they have their own personal problems because they were losers, then they project that onto our kids. And this is where you get all this other nonsense. Unfortunately, common ground is impossible when they despise you and everything you stand for. Exactly. Exactly. It doesn't matter. Like we've had a few people over the years that have listened to the other side, but have come in and watched me for a couple of weeks, and have ended up actually, agreeing with everything that I've said, right? And I've even had messages off people, oh geez, you're not as bad as people make you out to be. But when there's certain accounts out there that keep pushing this narrative about me, it sticks. It sticks. They see, because I'm so honest and open, they see that somehow as being toxic. But you see, the thing about it is, I'm the most real person probably on this platform, or one of the most real people on this platform. The rest of you are faking it all. Some of you fake the outrage, some of you fake the joy of seeing it. You can actually see some reaction videos to certain programs, and you can tell who the real fans are and who the fake fans are, because it's so contrived the way they celebrate certain. You could see it. Whereas I'm just a straight shooter. I'll be as honest, and if that could, I don't care. And people say me delivery as well. Some people are not happy with the way I deliver me stories or deliver me videos. Well, listen, I'm Irish. I'll deliver them the way I want to. Nobody tells me how to do things on YouTube. I'll do it my way. And my way is my way. And that's it. Right? Don't claim to be professional. Never have. Even though some people have used that against me as some sort of dig. I've never claimed to be professional. Right? I don't claim to have fans like other YouTubers do. They're your subscribers, not fans, just fucking morons. You know, there are people that support your channel and keep you going. But to call them fans is just like showing how much of an ego some YouTubers have out there. Me fans, you've insulted me fans. Me fans, you don't have fans, you have subscribers. Leave it out. Fans. Does his own fans? That'd be funny. Crazy little fuckers. I'm only messing. Yeah, for years the other side of the fandom has treated you like some sort of boogeyman. Yeah, well, that's what happens when you put a lot of them in their place, or you come back at them with logic, or with facts, or you've been proven right time and time again. They just don't like me because I'm a different sort of YouTuber than they're used to, and I understand that to a certain extent. I actually think some of them, even though some of them have bigger channels than me, right? It's weird to say this, but I think some of them are even threatened by me. But they don't need to be threatened by me because I do have a small channel. I don't claim to be this huge YouTube personality or that, and I just do me thing. And if people watch me, they watch me. Simple as that. If people don't like me and people start tuning out, I'll say, right, I'll pack it in, folks. Thank you. It's been a hell of a journey. Bye bye. You know, but I really do think it's either jealousy or and they keep bringing that up. When I bring up the jealousy part, they laugh. Yeah, we're jealous of you. Well, you must be. You just keep focusing on me. So if it's not jealousy, then what is it? It's either an obsession like Glenn Close in Fatal Attraction, or it's something else. What is it? It's not a healthy obsession anyway. I just don't get it. I do me thing. If you don't like me, you don't have to watch. But clearly you do. So why is watching? See, I wouldn't mind, right, if they watch and then they spoke in the chat, but they don't. They go off bitching to me on Twitter to someone else, and then a big Twitter personality that'll have a big YouTube channel that doesn't do too well, but then will start bitching about me on Twitter or retweeting me tweets so I get shit sent my way. So they think they're clever the way they do it. That's why now I protect. I only let people that follow me answer me tweets now. I should have found that bleeding setting a long time ago. It would have saved an awful lot of bleeding hassle over the last 5 years, but I'm using it now. And some people say, oh, well, you're censoring people. No, I'm not censoring people. What I'm doing is I'm allowing the people that I follow and the people that follow me, and if I'm following them also, then they can respond to me tweets. They're the people that I want to respond to me tweets, right? The fact is, these people get their nose out of joint because they're not able to respond to me tweets. But you're not following me, and I'm not following you. So the tweet, then, yes, it's up on a public platform, but I could choose who I want to reply. If you're so desperate, then you can follow me, but still you won't be able to reply, but you can retweet me tweet. But that's up to you. Then I could see then that your nose is out of joint. Like someone the other day, like came at me and start cursing at me and all. And I said, oh, look, insulting because you've already know you've lost the argument because they were banging their nose in about the Sophia Miles thing, which we spoke about on the channel. Now, as far as I know, Gobby Guy is going to be doing another video on the topic because he has spoken to Sophia. Our Twitter account was temporarily gone but then it popped back up again. But now I've been told she's gone yet again. And apparently the whole thing has upset her, which rightly so. But just to give you an update, obviously I read you out the thread, and I was criticised by some people that were defending this person. But here's an update for you, and a very interesting update. So the person that made the original thread decided to delete the whole thread and then put up a message to explain why they deleted the whole thread, because they didn't want any hassle. They didn't think that the fandom was going to get a hold of it. It's exactly what you knew what would happen. I had found out obviously after I had made the video, after the fact, that this person actually sells those masks at conventions and stuff and wears the costume. So you know what they say about publicity, whether it's good or bad, it's still publicity, and drama is the same thing. Why would you take down, if that incident did happen the way you said it did happen, you wouldn't be removing the thread. You'd stick it up there, you'd stick by your convictions because you felt that way and this incident did happen. When you take it down, it looks like a bad move to me. But as I said, because I was getting a bit of stick about my tweet and my video, as I said in both, and I'll explain again just in case anybody that is still supporting the other person, that's fine, fair enough, you could do that. But let me make it clear. I've always said, and I said this when I did my first video, I said it on Twitter, and I'm going to say it again. There are two sides to every story, and we've only heard one side of the story. Now, that person that had that one side of the story has decided to remove their side of the story from Twitter. Now, I'm not saying anything in particular on that. You can read whatever you want to read into that, but I will bring you back to an incident about a year ago where Angry Joe was accused of something by a female on Twitter, and then it turned out that none of this happened, and the person just removed the tweet, and there was nothing, but they nearly cancelled Angry Joe, right? And this woman thinks she could just go and get on with her life after making that accusation, even though it was all explained, and it turned out it was absolutely falsehood, right? Now, I'm not saying that that's happened in this situation, but what I have said, there is two sides to a story, and we've only heard one side, but now that person has decided to remove their side of the story. Now, if someone from the Doctor Who universe, and I was at a con, and they were rude to me, right? Okay, and I did want to tell people about it, I wouldn't be taking it down after the fact because I didn't think the fandom would get a hand. What did you think would happen? See, that's the part of the tweet that makes me have doubt in the whole story. You didn't think the fandom would get a hold of it. What did you think was going to happen if you accuse someone that is part of the Doctor, who has been part of the Doctor Who show, of being rude and saying stuff to you? And as I said in my video, the whole thing about, well, you could sell the mask on eBay, right? It's literally being proven now on Twitter that other actors have actually said the same thing when they've signed stuff. It's a bit of a running joke at cons with everybody associated with Doctor. Oh, you could sell that on eBay and make a lot of money, right? But obviously you took it the wrong way and took it as being rude or something. But you took your thread down, and then you write that up, and then you wrote that part, and that's what's gotten me. And someone had already said to me behind the scenes that they smelled a bit of a rat. And I tell you, if this is another attempt to cancel Sophia because she happens to support Johnny Depp and happens to support Noel Clark, I would actually say as well, that person in particular that made the someone should look into or see, does she support Amber Heard or any of these other people, because that would explain a lot. Because Gobby Guy had her on the channel, and he was talking to her backstage and said she was lovely. And when she had her DMs open and she was letting people talk to her, we had an interaction on Twitter, and then we had I sent her a couple of DMs, and she replied back. I was trying to get her on the channel and stuff like that, and we had a nice interaction. And I've only ever had a nice interaction. And then I've joined our spaces as well on Twitter, and I've listened to her talk to other fans, and fans would be discussing, you know, their life problems with her, and she'd be listening, and she'd be giving advice, and she'd be letting others give advice. And all I've ever heard and seen of the woman is good, right? So this is why this is, some people are saying, well, why did you get involved? Why did you make a video? Well, the reason why I got involved and made a video, and the reason why Gobby Guy has made his video, Gobby Guy actually had her on in person, whereas I've only interacted with her on Spaces and Twitter. But my interactions with her have always been very, very nice, and she is. I have to say, she's a very giving person when it comes to answering questions and stuff like that. And if you've listened to our spaces, they get very private. They go into private stuff and stuff like that. And she's very open book. She's a very open book. I think this whole incident, if I'm being honest, I say the person had the genuine feelings that they had. But I think personally, and this is just a personal opinion, don't want to be shot down for it, it's just my opinion, it may have been a bit of an overreaction from the person that made the allegation, but had those feelings and felt that way, which is fair enough and understandable. But this may have been just an overreaction. And of course, because it is social media, unfortunately, when it was picked up by the fandom, it became a huge thing, and it blew up in Sophia's face. And, you know, the two of them are obviously hurting, you know, the person in question and Sophia. And you know, it looks like just a stupid misunderstanding that's been blown out of proportion by certain members of this fandom. Not even the person in question, but other people latched onto that tweet and start retweeting it. I mean, I've got a video coming up on Sophia, because I think you need to see this, right? Now, as I said, there are two sides to the story, right? Okay, and we don't know Sophia's side to the story. But what we will say is what I've seen on Twitter, the stuff that's being said about her, right, is absolutely disgusting. Now, I'm going to feature that in a video later on tonight. I've actually got the screenshots ready to go. I just have to put the video together. But you're going to see the reaction. Now, of course, because, you know, it is a public platform, Twitter. You know, people put their tweets up and they're for everybody to see. But for the purpose of the video, I have to censor it because YouTube, even though it is a public platform, YouTube are a bit stickler about that. So unfortunately, I have to rub out all the names of the people that are making these vile accusations and vile comments about Sophia, because if I had me way, I'd actually expose them. To be quite honest with you, I'd leave their names, warts and all, for you all to see who these people are, because they're truly vile messages and tweets that they've thrown up, and you are going to see that later on, and it's absolutely disgusting. And even if the incident did occur the way the other person said, which I have to say, knowing Sophia and having the interactions with her had, and Gobby Guy can vouch for her big time because he's spoken to her personally, I just don't see it. I just don't see it. But you are going to see these comments. The comments that they've made about David Tennant and her are absolutely disgusting, right? And even Cinnamon has said it in there, right? They made disgusting comments about her and David's relationship. I didn't even know they had dated. Yeah, I knew that myself, actually. They did date for a while. But apparently the way he dumped her has become a focus of amusement to these vile creatures. So as I said, the consequence of this misunderstanding, if that's exactly what it is, has blown out of all proportion because of the cancel culture that exists not only in society but in our fandom by a small minority in this fandom, and it's absolutely, I swear, they claim to support Jodie Whittaker and all and Mandip and stuff like this and support women's rights, and then they go and talk about a woman the way they spoke about Sophia is absolutely disgusting. I am just blown away by the level of 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 level of depravity in this fandom. It's absolutely disgusting. These people say they speak up for women's rights, and they support women's rights, and they support, women shouldn't be left out, all of this that we get from them, and then they go and speak about Sophia like that. They're hypocrites. They're hypocrites. It's disgusting. Absolutely. But anyway, we will leave it there. There's going to be plenty of other Doctor Who news to talk about. As I said, I will have those screenshots. I will put it up in the video later on. Also, as well, during the week, we'll be continuing our Christmas watch-alongs. I haven't forgotten about them either, so don't worry about that. I knew, what did I tell you last week? I says that there should be some news next week or the week after. But it was obviously this week. But again, Cinnamon has made another point there as well. First, yeah, I know it's sad. It's sad, man. It's sad. But look, unfortunately, the fandom is full of hypocrites and outraged idiots, and all we can do is just expose them and just call this behavior out, because RTD doesn't take any crap from anybody. It doesn't matter what side of the fandom you're on. You come at RTD, you're blocked. He'll take you down first with an Instagram post, and then he'll block you, right? We as a fandom, we have to call this out. We think, imagine all the stuff we got, right? And they're doing worse than what we ever did. I never degraded Jodie Whittaker once, right? In the manner that we've seen. No way. Right? I might have had my opinions on her. And yes, I did put up those photographs and I did censor them. But maybe it wasn't the right thing to do. I did take down the video eventually. Right? I was a bit stubborn about it at first, I'll admit that. But I did take it down. I did recognize maybe I went too far there. But that's as far as it ever went. These people are literally, I've seen disgusting stuff being said about Jodie Whittaker. We even showed you a Twitter account out there that was doing vile stuff to Jodie Whittaker photographs. I won't even get into that, right? Then we had a YouTuber that said vile stuff about Millie Gibson, right? And now we've got this attack on Sophia Myles. It's both. It's different sections of the fandom now that are just all crossing the line and just don't give a fuck. We had a bit. Look, the fandom right now, the show we're optimistic about. But let's be honest, the fandom is wrote off now. The fandom the fandom lives within YouTube communities now. That's where the fandom is now. There is no fandom on Twitter anymore. It's just rival. It's like rival gangs, just arguing with each other all the time. And people are still even trying to rope me into stuff and all of that, and I'm just not interested anymore. I don't care what they have to say, but I address the Sophia thing. I will obviously show you those disgusting tweets, and I will be censoring their names. You shouldn't have to, because they put it up on a public platform for everybody to see anyway. But the fact that these people can actually go and do it publicly, just like that YouTuber when he said those things publicly. I mean, everybody seems to be crossing the line now, as I said. and it needs to stop. It needs to stop. The fandom is done anyway. As I said, it lives on YouTube communities now. You know, this channel, Gobby's channel, Dan's channel, Rabbi's channel. You know, the Scottish Davros and Friends Wrestle with Pop Culture's channel, Jack's channel. You know, other channels out there that are keeping this fandom alive right now. But the fandom on Twitter and other platforms is dead. It's dead. It's gone. It's gone. As long as they exist and stay around in the fandom, we'll never ever get the fandom back to the way it was. Right? They just don't want anybody to have art and good. They want us to be as miserable as they are. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you are miserable. I'm sorry that you have low self-confidence and low self-esteem. I'm sorry that, you know, that you were failed by your parents, your educators, and society. But I'm not sorry for pushing back and saying enough is enough, and saying that the self-entitlement, this fake outrage culture, this cancel culture is enough is enough. Enough is enough. If you can't agree on things, if we can't agree on things as a society or as a fandom or anything like that, well then just better off sticking to your own groups and speaking with like-minded people that will always agree with you. Right? I don't always agree with people on this channel. This is what I love about it. Some people will argue their points and their opinions to me, and I'll argue my points and opinions back to them. This is what I love about this channel. Dan's channel is the same. Dan will have guests on that will have different opinions, and there's debates on those channels. Right? Same here. And that's what you need. You need that balance. But if you want to scream into an echo chamber, whether you love the Jody era or you hate the Jody era and you want to stay in those echo chambers, fine. I've even been accused of being a traitor because I'm giving RTD a go. But literally, I said that the day when I broke the news to you guys before it became official, that if he was coming back, I was always going to give him a chance. But for some people on this channel that ended up turning on me, it was a surprise to them, which probably proved that they didn't watch every bloody stream that we ever did. Because I always said I was giving RTD a chance. I've said it several times now. I'm blue in the face saying it now. I was always giving him a chance. Because he brought Doctor Who back in the period of my life where I was really down. And Christopher Eccleston's first season probably has me alive today. So I was always giving RTD a chance. And I did say to people that I understand that they didn't want to come along on this journey with me. It'd be sad to see them go if they were going to go, if they weren't going to stick around. But, you know, I wish them well. But there seems to be a surprise to some, because you'll see there's a few people missing from the chat. Not the regulars. There are some of them are obviously busy. It's coming up to Christmas. But there's other people that used to be in the chat that are just not here anymore. Because somehow I've let them down. Even though I've said from day one when I reported on the RTD news that if he was coming back, I was going to support him and give him a chance. And then when it officially broke, I said the same thing again. But it's all right to have different opinions. People, one person went as far as to attack me on Facebook. And I was like, you know, apparently I changed my opinions overnight and became, I've submitted to the woke. But that was always going to happen. It was always going to happen either way. Because, I had very strong opinions and convictions during the Doctor Who era, especially the Chibnall era. Um, and all my opinions haven't changed. That's the thing. I still believe that that was a pile of crap. You know, um, even during that era, I praised some things, but most of it I didn't like, and I was honest about it. But I'll do the same with RTD. I'll give him the same whip of the stick. It's like, if it's good, I'll report that it's good. If it's not my cup of tea, if it's bad, I'll say that. But I'm not going to say it's bad because people expect me to say it's bad. See, this is what's happened now. It's the same with the new Indiana Jones trailer, right? And I'll just be brief on this because I don't want to harp on about Indiana Jones that much. But already people have made up their minds about it. Now, I watched the trailer, right? And I did say I was going to do a stream during the week about this, and I will, and I'll talk about it a little bit more. But I watched the trailer. So what did I think of the trailer? Was the trailer good, bad, or did I think it was a pile of crap? I thought the trailer was very good. Now, I thought the de-aging was very good. The trailer looked actually pretty intense, I have to be honest, right? Now, because a certain YouTuber out there is saying that there's time travel and Phoebe Waller-Bridge is taking over after Indiana Jones is going to die and all this, people have already made up their minds. Now, the director has pushed back and said that this particular YouTuber is lying, and why should you believe that YouTuber? Because he's the director of the movie, right? Now, we don't know who's lying. But can I just point out that the person that's come out with these rumors doesn't have a very good track record with breaking news? This is the same fella that's been telling everybody that Kathleen Kennedy is leaving. And how many years has that been going on? Now, eventually, apparently, she's definitely leaving this time, and I think it's been made official. But if you keep repeating the same thing over and over, eventually it's going, like Nostradamus, it's going to be true, isn't it? Right? So, good point, JWC Reviews. They also made these outlandish comments about No Time to Die. Right? Now, I did not watch that movie for ages, not based because of that YouTuber, but because of other YouTubers out there. And I didn't watch that movie. But one night, I was sitting here and said, you know what? I'm going to actually feckin' sit down and watch that movie and see if it's as bad as people make it out to be. And I don't know what people were bitching and moaning about. Because, okay, the ending, if you haven't seen it, close your ears because I'm about to give a big, huge spoiler away right now. So in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, James Bond dies, right? Now, the way it was done, it made sense, right? And it was sad. But was this the worst James Bond movie I've ever seen? The Daniel Craig movies? No. No. Quantum of Solace is still worse than this. Spectre is worse than this. But this movie was pretty decent, and it was a decent end to Daniel Craig's movie. But everything that particular YouTuber had said that was going to happen didn't happen. Now this YouTuber is coming out and breaking news about time travel and all of this other nonsense. Now, the trailer that came out, if you look at it, right, kind of does indicate it could be time travel because we did see a de-aging scene. But I will flip it another way and say, well, maybe it's not actually a time travel scene at all. Maybe it's old Indy having a dream. Or remembering something and they do a flashback. Right? Now, it's called the Dial of Destiny. So again, that's another thing. I will say this. If this YouTuber is right this time around, all I will say is it's about fucking time, because after 8-9 years, you finally got something right. But for the YouTubers and the Twitter account handles out there that are asking people to apologize to him, I think he's have very short memories. Why should people apologize to him when he's been lying to the fandom for the last few years about Kathleen Kennedy? You just want people to forget about all of that and forget about all the other stuff that he said about Star Wars that never actually came true. You are just all going to forget that because, oh, he's a good guy. Right? That's no excuse. I'm sorry, he doesn't deserve an apology. Right? He doesn't deserve an apology. And I would say to the YouTubers out there that are quick enough to jump on the bandwagon and say, yeah, everybody deserves, should give him an apology. Well, why don't you, as YouTubers, do your fucking research and find out where this rumor originated? Because I'm pretty sure if you were to actually do the research, you'd probably find it's from an obscure little place that you have never heard of, and he was able to get his hands on it. Remember, some of the rumors that he thrown out there in the public, guys, some people had found on 4chan. So all it takes is for someone with a bit of fucking brawn or a bit of, because I can't be bothered anyway. Why would I actually gave up on that fella a long time ago. I seen his fucking game ages ago. And I still haven't changed my opinion on him, and I never will. Right? But you got to wait and see what happens. But I thought the trailer was decent. I have to be honest, I grew up with this franchise. And here's the thing. I just want to say one more thing, by the way. To you big YouTubers out there, especially the ones that have been bashing this new movie, you do not own the monopoly on how a franchise should go. I grew up with this franchise too. Right? You don't speak for the fandom, right? You may not like certain elements of that trailer and think that they might be doing time travel, but the rest of the fandom could be okay with it. I could be okay with it. I'm not going to give my opinion on it until I actually watch the movie, right? But nobody owns a monopoly on how a franchise should go. It's the same with these super canon Star Wars fans, where they want everything to religiously follow canon, right? Well, you may not like this, but the rest of the audience are not down with the Star Wars canon or the Doctor Who canon or whatever canon than the rest of us are, right? That's just a fact, right? And if you want your show to be successful and you want to bring in a general audience, because shows don't just survive with fandom. That's a given nowadays. They don't, right? That may have been the case years ago. Not anymore, right? You need that mainstream audience, right? But this is what I'm hating now. Seeing YouTubers basically, because their opinions are put out there, right? Well, that's the opinion I should have now because this is what he thinks, and we should stick to that. And even when it all goes tits up, he will come out with another video and he'll have an article, and I can guarantee you this is what will happen. Well, the last minute they did reshoots, blah, 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 because that's how they get away with it. Or I got this off a source that got this off another source that got this off another source, right? If you hear someone say they got it off a source that got it off another source that got it off another source, you should steer away clear from that. Because basically what they're essentially telling you is, well, I got it off 4chan, off someone that wrote it up, that got it off someone else, that heard it off someone else, and now I'm going to report that as getting it from someone. Do you always notice they always say, well, I got these from people that are not my main sources, but this person came to me. Another thing as well. That's another trait you should look out for as well. It's fake. This person also said that Doctor Who wasn't shown in China because of Taiwan. I actually did a video that showed that he was talking right out of his ass. It had nothing to do with Taiwan. It got to do with the fact that the film censorship laws, the censorship laws over there, when it comes to time travel, China is very strict, right? And if a show doesn't stick within China's version of history. They will not allow that show or that movie to feature. Now they've kind of over the years kind of relaxed that a little bit, but some shows are still right. He tried to blame, he said Taiwan because they didn't like that black man. That's the way he reported it. Right? And none of that was ever the case. So again, can I just say to people, yes, people will put out there, will put out legit rumors and source information. It's up to you as a viewer to go and look for them, right? But if you keep going to the same person that has let down the fandom time and time again, well, then you're only asking for trouble because you're going to be let down every single time. Not one rumor. Not one rumor. I have a higher success rate than this particular YouTuber, and this hashtag that this person was right keeps trending every time, which makes me skin crawl because they're never right. But how fans can be duped and how people out there can actually say to people, well, he's all owed an apology. Like the cheek of you for even saying that. Nobody owes him an apology. Right? I'll tell you what's he gone? 8 years, 9 years saying Kathleen Kennedy's gone. I'll tell you what, when he gets 8 or 9 years of consistent rumours right, then he'll get his apology. Right? Then he'll get his apology. Because he's being consistent. There's other YouTubers out there smaller than him that actually put out legit stuff and they're being overshadowed by this fella and others like him, right? And it's a goddamn shame. And it's exactly what's happening to me in the Doctor Who fandom, because there's other channels out there bigger. They're connected to all the main people that they need to be connected to. They put out rumor after rumor after rumor, and none of it ever comes to fruition. None of it, right? Whereas we've had stuff come to fruition because of the sources we've had, and then nothing. I'm overshadowed by these other people because they know the right people, and because they hate the channel and all of this, they won't even listen to me. I've even had some that have stolen directly from my channel that stuff that I've put out and framed it as their own thing, saying they got it from sources. And some of you know who that YouTuber was, because some of you become back, no, this is what you exactly said. And that's what happens, man. So no. No. I'm a straight shooter. I don't like that bullshit. Right? Yeah, you got to be honest. You can't be conning your fucking audience. Right? Especially if you've built up a big channel the way you have, and then you start charging people for your autograph as well. I mean, that's just the height of ego. Oh man. I mean, I'd never do that. Here, just want me autograph. Here, I'll charge you 20 quid for my autograph. You can have me autograph on the piece of paper. I'll print it out, by the way. Yeah, we have to watch the end of Bel Air, Daniel, but we were loving it as well. But again, they were moaning all about that as well, and that show turned out to be great. Just watch your own shit, right? Don't be listening to people out there. Watch his own shows. I mean, there's loads of people giving out about Wednesday. Cheryl's watched a couple of episodes. I can't wait to watch it. Everything that I've been listening to some positive stuff as well. I've seen the trailer. I'm hyped. It's Tim Burton. And some of the controversy is because two black people happen to be bullies. So black people don't bully anybody out there, by the way, folks. Only white people. I mean, Twitter can go and kiss me arse. Like, if that's what you have an issue with, well, then you're not a fan of Wednesday. Get the fuck out of the fandom. Simple as that, right? We're not here to show anybody in a good light. If people are bullies, it doesn't matter what the skin color is. Anybody can be a bully.
She's also a siren, so
She's what?
She's also a siren.
She's also a siren.
So,
There you,
I mean,
like, I mean,
you know, they tend to be deceitful and stuff.
yeah,
As
yeah,
sirens are.
yeah. But you know, we can't have.
This is why I avoid anything talking about Wednesday. I have only seen the TikTok dance, and I know nothing else, and I am enjoying it. And Brienne from Tarth is in it.
Yeah, I'm watching it. I'm gonna watch it because it's something that I've actually been hyping up on Twitter because I've seen some people knock it even before it came out and say, how can you knock something you haven't seen yet?
Yes, and then there's also the thing that sometimes we just enjoy programs better if we don't watch them together.
True. That always works too. Did they show Legend of the Sea Devils? It had Chinese blokes in it. I thought you remember Legend of the Sea Devils now, actually. All I can remember is the ridiculous sword fight and the Sea Devils leaping with lightsaber swords. That's all I can remember from that episode. I actually thought the Sea Devils redesign was great, but that's the only thing I can remember about that episode, believe it or not. The casting of Wednesday looks amazing. She's actually looks like the character. Not that I'm a big fan of the Addams Family, says Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Yeah, well, he's just let himself in.
Good boy! I'm so proud of you. You're so clever.
Ted's just at the opening.
I'm
the sitting room door to let himself in.
A genius for a son. Yes, you are. You are so smart.
Oh yeah, that as I said, you know, you're better off watching these things for you ourselves and not listening to others out there. It'll be the same. Or even though I'll give my opinions on the RTD era, I'll always say to you, make up your own minds. Even Jordan Jody's era, I even said it to you, look, I mightn't like it, but some of yours might appeal to someone out there. You know, that's the way it is. We all have different tastes. So there's nothing wrong with that either. But yeah, I'm a firm believer now that you should watch for yourself. It's the only way you're ever going to know if anything is good. Because as I said, if I had to continue to listen to the things about No Time to Die, I would never have watched that movie. And then when I watched it, it wasn't as bad as certain people made it out to be. It was actually a lot better than I thought. And I actually thought it was sad. The ending of that movie was sad. I never got emotional watching a James Bond movie as much as I did at the ending of that because it was heartbreaking. And I'm not going to lie. It was. And it was a nice little ending to Craig's Bond. Listen, Craig's Bond will be criticised by a lot of people, but I like them as James Bond. Casino Royale's a masterpiece. Skyfall is a masterpiece, in my opinion. You know, it had Quantum of Solace, which was actually crap, and Spectre, which was actually a bit dodgy as well. But, you know, he did okay. He did okay. Yeah, the Weeping Angel episode was probably a lot of people to still talk about that episode. I have to watch that episode again because I remember at the time when I watched it, I did praise some elements of it, but I just felt the story was a bit flat, if I remember. But I should do that again actually, just to see. I'm gonna watch The Power of the Doctor again because I want to watch the cameos again. I'll watch the whole episode. I don't watch little clips, you know, like most of these fake fans did for the last 5 years. I actually watched the whole episode, so I know what I'm talking about. I don't get the bullet points, you know. I thought Quantum of Solace is a great film, still do. It's part 2 of Casino Royale. Yes, it is, but it's still the weakest one for me. It's still the weakest one for me. But it has its moment. I mean, the car chase at the start of that movie is epic. I'm not going to lie. That car chase is fucking brilliant in Quantum of Solace. Even when they're hanging off the things, that's just a deadly scene as well. It's got some good scenes, but it got bogged down with, oh man, it's not. they got bogged down with climate change and crap with that movie. And then Skyfall, they just went back to pure James Bond. And even Adele's fucking song suited that movie. It was bleeding, but that movie is that's up there. That and Casino Royale are up there with some of my favorite Bond movies. Quantum had too much action and a very weak villain. That was the problem. The villain was weak. But of course, it was obviously part of a bigger, and the whole thing with Vespa as well, kind of the after effect of that. You kind of, doing the emotional side, vulnerable side of Bond. I think Her Majesty's Secret Service did it better. But yeah, Skyfall was great. Of course, Doctor Who tried it with Spyfall. I mean, the first episode of Spyfall is decent. I said that at the time. I'm not going to change my mind on that. The second episode let it down fucking completely. But again, Chibs was half in or out. He just didn't know what he was fucking doing. Anyway, well, we've gone 2 hours. Yeah, I didn't like the No Time There. I know everybody went mad for your man Sam Smith song. I didn't like it. I didn't like it. I didn't like fucking what you call it as well. Didn't like Billie Eilish's song either. Didn't like that. I liked Casino Royale's tune, and I liked Skyfall's tune. Casino Royale's one was obviously different to what we'd known Bond teams to be, but I think that's just become a classic Bond team now. It's deadly. I love that movie. Look, Casino Royale is a fucking great Bond movie. I mean, I just can't get me head around Quantum of Solace. But then you get as I said, Skyfall, and that's just an utter brilliant movie. I mean, even like, I mean, I kind of seen the twist coming, but still, when it happened, it's just brilliant, man. Oh, that whole movie is brilliant, man, start to finish. Oh, top 5 Bond movies, right? Well, number one, we'll go backwards, so we'll do number one first. So, my number one Bond movie, if I was being honest about it, would probably have to be. Oh, this is going to be controversial. It's going to be Live and Let Die. Number 2. Well, I'm putting A View to a Kill in there, but I'm not going to put a number 2. I think View to a Kill will be number 5. I know even Roger Moore has regrets about that movie, but I just love how over the top that movie actually is, and it's typical of the Moore era. But he did do Live and Let Die, as I said, which I think is probably one of his best, if not his best Bond movie, in my opinion. Number 2. Oh, it'd probably be From Russia with Love. Yeah, that'd be number 3. So number 4, Live and Let Die. A View to a Kill is number 5. So I would have to put. See, I haven't put any of Craig's movies in there, have I? And you see, I haven't even put any of Timothy Dalton's movies in there. This is actually hard for me because I do like. Look, I grew up with the Sean Connery era because my dad was obsessed with Sean Connery, and he actually then became obsessed with Roger Moore's Bond. He did like Pierce Brosnan, but he didn't like Timothy Dalton or don't think he I think he was impressed. I think he did like George Lazenby as Bond, but see, top five is hard because now I'm rethinking my whole list. See, I think Timothy Dalton's two movies that he did are brilliant Bond movies and were way ahead of their time. And I think that's why a lot of I think Bond fans appreciate those movies now, but at the time they were kind of out of place. And then you have the two Daniel Craig movies that I like. They could also be very easily in the top five. As I said, there's two Roger Moore movies that I definitely put in there. With, as I said, A View to a Kill and Live and Let Die. And then Sean Connery, he has actually quite a few Bond movies that I love. So top five. I mean, there's Goldfinger as well, yeah. Then you have fucking Roger Moore, Octopussy. I like that as well. See, it's very hard to pick a top five. And then Pierce Brosnan, yeah, he got cheese. Bond got cheesy near the end, but GoldenEye is actually a great movie. And Tina Turner's soundtrack is fucking epic, man. That was a stroke of genius getting Tina Turner for that. Right, hold on. Right, if my life depended on it, the five movies. Right, let's try do this one. Okay. Right, I'm gonna put Live and Let Die still at number one, but at number two, I'm going to put In the Living Daylights. Number three then would be ooh. We'll put Casino Royale in at number three. Number four. See, Goldfinger is a great movie, but I love Russia with Love. I'm gonna put Russia with Love number five then. Because I love it, I'm still gonna put it in there. It's a Roger Moore. It's probably the weakest one, but I'm gonna put A View to a Kill in there. But that's very tough, man. There's see this is the problem I have with Bond, right? It's like Doctor Who. There's not many bad movies. There's not many bad movies. I mean, the standout bad movies, right? Let's be honest, Moonraker, right? We can definitely all say that. There was Quantum of Solace. That was pretty bad. I put Spectre in there. That was pretty bad as well. Sean Connery. He did that piss take one. What was it? You only live twice or something. Is that what was that? Was that what it was called? I mean, that was decent, but that was actually decent, but still. I mean, I know what they tried to do with Spectre, but I don't know. It kind of doesn't work like it did in the 60s or the 70s, you know, the whole Spectre. thing. Casino Royale, The Living Daylights, on Her Majesty's Secret Service, From Russia with Love, and Goldfinger. Oh, it was Never Say Never Again. That was the one. That was the piss take. Yeah, that was actually pretty decent. But he put on a bit of weight as well for that one. Do you remember? He just literally took the piss. Bond's a hard franchise to pick your top 10 for because it's always going to fluctuate, or a top 5, because there is so many good movies. I mean, kind of cool's list is deadly. I mean, that could easily be a top 5. But then there's a lot of movies there that you could stick in there that are worthy to be in the top 5. It's a tough one with the Bond franchise because, as I said, there hasn't been too many bad movies. And some of the bad movies that I might hate, some people will love, you know? So, yeah, it's a weird one. It'll be interesting now to see who they cast as the next James Bond, and can they actually now, you know, I don't know how they're going to do this now because they tried the kind of edgy Bond with Daniel Craig, but then that very quickly they kind of went back to, traditional things, uh like Q, a male M, you know. So how will they do it? How will they play it this time? Will they go for the kind of Roger Moore sort of Bond? Will they kind of continue on from the Daniel Craig kind of era and continue Bond down that path? Or will they have a different idea for Bond? Look, if Bond is not a drunk womanizer killer, that's not going to work. Right? Even with the Daniel Craig one, you could see that he wanted to put that vulnerability in there. And look, I was all for that because, let's be honest, Bond is going to be vulnerable at times, but you don't need to keep showing it. Well, they have said that they're casting a man, that's never going to change. They've actually come out and actually addressed that, and they said that the next Bond won't be a woman. Bond will always be a male role, because it was the way it was originally intended. So I suppose that's something, but that still doesn't stop them from trying to, within that, try change the characteristics of Bond, which they played around with Daniel Craig quite a bit. And that's why, you get these rumors then that come out then because of certain writers brought in. And again, the overreaction with Phoebe Waller-Bridge. Look, she's not my cup of tea. I don't get why she's in demand the way she is, but people love her stuff, right? But there has been an overreaction. Anytime she's connected to something, right, there seems to be this go-to reaction, which is, oh no, she's going to be bad, she's going to take over, and she's going to do this, that, and the other, and it never seems to be the case. So people just need to be, wait and see. It needs to be a Scotsman again, says Kinda Cool. Yeah, well, I mean, people will have their idea who Bond should be. It'll be interesting to see. I'm pretty sure we'll get the announcement. I think they said it won't be till next year, so we'll see what happens. But whoever it is, it'll be interesting. Look, the Force movie will make or break that new person's Bond anyway, because the Force movie is always the important movie. Because I watched the interview with Louis Theroux and Dame Judy Dench, and she was talking about it because obviously she was brought in to play M, and Pierce Brosnan was brought in to play Bond, and she said that the both of them were pretty nervous, you know. So it'll be the same for the new actor. He will be pretty nervous, but the movie, the writers and the director, that's what will make or break that franchise now. And will the actor be able to carry it off? Because I remember when Daniel Craig was originally cast, there was a lot of pushback because he was fair haired, and they don't think that Bond should be fair haired. He's got dark hair, and he's rugged and all of this, and they didn't particularly warm to Daniel Craig. But as soon as Casino Royale was released, all of that died away because he actually blew it away as Bond in that Force movie. He didn't get the Bond music until the end of that movie, and that was him earning that that's what that scene felt like to me. Now he's earned it. When he was outside Mr. White's gaff with the gun, and the James Bond music comes in, the music that we all know, that was him earning his stripes right there and then. I got why they did that. I love that movie, man. Still to this day, it's a movie that I'll put on and watch. It's brilliant. I love that. I love it. I love it. And he proved a lot of people wrong taking that role. So the next actor, people will say he's either right or wrong for it, and then the only way you'll tell is when he's obviously on screen and we see what he can produce. So let's fingers crossed, because as I said, the last few movies, I mean, the last movie was decent, but I still maintain that the two best movies of that Daniel Craig run are Casino Royale and Skyfall. The rest, I'm not a big fan of Quantum of Solace, but the other two I can actually still watch because there's interesting stuff going on in those movies, but still. True, Sally. That's absolutely true. The two of the big castings, they're the ones that create the most hype, especially in the UK industry. It does. They're and especially with James Bond now. Well, Doctor Who will be the same now. When he was cast, that was kind of global. Now it's become a global thing now. So they are those castings now set up that franchise for the next few years. So you got to get it right. You've got to get it right. And then at the same time, then you've got to assemble the right team of writers and the right director that can see whatever vision you have for that Bond through. And let's hope. Now, I want them to kind of go back to, under the Craig movies, I think, then they have the same director for a couple of the movies or something like that. I wanted a new director for each movie. I think they did that with most of the old movies. If I'm pretty sure they were different directors. They just had the same producers, but you need different directors, I think. You don't want to be getting back. And I don't want, I know they tried to do it with Craig, and they did do it with Connery's Bond as well, where they tried to make some stories connect and stuff like that. Yeah, I don't mind that, but don't make that the focus like they did with the Craig one, where they tried to make every story connect to the next one, to the next one, to the next one. I know people kind of like that, but I like Bond of Old, where they're just different stories. Especially Pierce Brosnan's era was actually very good at doing that. Yeah, and bring back a bit of cheese. I can't believe I'm actually saying that. They've tried the series Bond now. I've kind of had me fill of it now. Bring back a bit of cheese. I don't mind a little bit of cheese if it's done right, but have those funny moments in it like you did have in the Connery era, especially the Roger Moore era. And Pierce Brosnan was pretty cheesy near the end, but that went too much cheese. But if you get the cheese right, then it's good. It's good. You know, characters like Jaws and stuff, they brought the cheese and a bit of cuteness to it, and not all and stuff. So yeah, why not? Let's go for something different this time. But just once James Bond goes around, does what James Bond does, I'll be happy. Good stories as well. Right, good stories as well. And stay out of the climate change nonsense and all of this other nonsense, right? Right, he's a spy. Okay? Let him do spy things, right? Craig never had the swagger of Connery. Listen, Connery is the benchmark, right? Connery will never be beaten. Like in some people's eyes and some fans' eyes, William Hartnell is the some people. There are some fans out there that don't consider the other doctors. William Hartnell is it to them, right? And there's fans out there, and a lot of us are the same. William Hartnell will always be the benchmark because he was the one that obviously took the role and elevated that role. So people always, when a new doctor comes in, there always is, yes, there is a comparison to a previous doctor. There always is another previous doctors, but there's always that comparison made with William Hartnell. Always. And always will. So we'll just wait and see what happens anyway. But exciting times ahead. Exciting times ahead, and I can't wait. I cannot wait. So look, I am gonna leave it there now, because the missus went out to the shop, and I'm actually curious to see what she got because, like, I was streaming when she came back, so it'll be interesting to see what she got. To see if she got me out nice. So I'm gonna leave it there. Well, as I said, we'll continue our Christmas specials. We are on what was the next one? Yeah, we're on the next Doctor. That'll be the next episode that we're doing. So come and join us. Real Super Doctor joined us for the last one. It was pretty good. The Voyage of the Damned we did, which is what me and especially Real Super Doctor, we like it because Titanic, and we did a few Titanic streams, as you know. We're mad geeks for Titanic. So yeah, I brought him on for that one. That was very enjoyable. And don't forget this weekend, I've actually got two special guests coming on over the weekend. So we start off the weekend with Cultivated Media, aka Chris, or aka formerly known as Bolstrek, will be on over the weekend. So come and join us, and then we will have our other stream, our Brotherhood stream, with Noel Clark, who was also joining us over the weekend. So come and join us for that as well. We've plenty of other stuff coming up as well. And Christmas night, when everything settles down, you know, Christmas, we do be tired after Christmas. And as you know, I'll be prepping the dinner and cooking stuff, and Cheryl will be getting the table ready and all of that and stuff. So we do get, at night time, we like to chill. Cheryl usually goes to bed early. So if that happens tonight, it's Christmas, which more than likely will happen, we will be streaming. It doesn't matter what time it is anyway. We'll be streaming Christmas night, and we'll be doing the last Christmas special, which was twice upon a time, wasn't it, with Peter Capaldi. So that'll be on Christmas night. So come and join us for that. Enjoy your journey through time and space. Love your friends. That's all of you. Love your family. Good night, says TARDIS Spider. Absolutely fantastic. And I echo those sentiments indeed. And we will see you over the Christmas period as well. And yeah, just to remind everybody as well, we're coming up to an anniversary. So I just want to remind the fandom, I've already got my video ready. I just haven't uploaded it yet until the date. But the 4th of January, marking these are calendars. The 4th of January was the day that Alpha Omega got his angel wings and left us. His anniversary, his 1 year anniversary, it's 1 year now, yeah. 1 year anniversary is on the 4th of January. So we'll be throwing up a little video for that on the 4th of January. So yeah, mark that and use our calendars anyway, because, you know, he was a big part of this channel. He set up his own channel. He was actually, you know, he was getting into his stride, and then, you know, the last message I had off him was he actually told me that he had COVID and he was pretty bad, and I wished him well. And then we didn't hear from him in months. We tried to get in contact with him. We couldn't find him at all, because we couldn't, you know, we knew him as Alpha Omega, you know, and thanks to Melina and PD Rich, we found out what his name actually was. And unfortunately, we found out that he had passed away. So, yeah, still miss him. It hasn't been the same. We haven't done the big group streams, if you've noticed, as often. It just hasn't been the same. I miss his sarcasm. I miss the banter behind the scenes, man. But yeah, we'll be remembering him, because he was a huge part of this community, a huge part of this channel, and he was doing his own stuff on his own channel, and he had people watching him there as well. And he had a heart of gold. And, you know, we didn't find out until months later. And it was, yeah, it was heartbreaking when we found out. We did a tribute stream. We brought people on to share their memories and stuff like that. Yeah, it was a hard one to take, and it still hasn't, you know, it still gets to me sometimes, man. Anyway, it would have been very interesting indeed to hear his opinions on what's happening right now with Doctor Who. It would have been. But as I said, he's never out of our thoughts, and he never will be. So we'll be marking the occasion. Only rightly so. As I said, he was a huge part of this community. He was well liked by a lot of people, including myself. You know, we had our own. I mean, that's what I miss. We used to have literal debates on here and arguments on here, and everybody would be, you know, laughing at the two of us, because they literally knew after the stream was over we'd be best friends again. But we had very strong opinions. He was very sarcastic as well. He was funny off stream as well as on stream, but he was funny off stream. He used to make us all chuckle. Anyway, we'll leave it there. So I'll talk to you during the week anyway. As I said, have a good one. I know it's coming up to Christmas and all, and a lot of you are busy getting prepped and all of that. Good luck with that, because I know how stressful that can be. But I will talk to you over the Christmas period, the festive period, Christmas period, and the New Year period. We won't be going anywhere. And I'm pretty sure over the next couple of days, we'll have plenty of stuff to talk about, because the next issue, Doctor Who magazine, is being released. And obviously, he's done another exclusive interview. And there'll be snippets coming out of that over the next few days. So we'll keep an eye on all of that. So until then, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And we shall talk to you soon, folks. Have a good evening. Bye, folks. Have a good one. Good night.